All right, it is 6 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. If you'd please conduct the roll.
President Holt.
Present.
Clerk Bigsby.
Present.
Trustee Brickler.
Present.
Trustee Wedge.
Present.
Trustee Roth.
All right, is there any public comment on closed session agenda items? Seeing none, it is 6 o'clock and we will move to closed session. It is 7:29 and we will reconvene in open session. Thank you. Do we put like our hand up? Is that it? Right, listening ears. No. Well, it's that or swing the hammer. So we've reconvened in open session. It's 7:29. Trustee Grigsby, if you would please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
No action was taken in closed session. And thank you. No action was taken in closed session. And I move that we approve tonight's agenda.
I'll second.
And all those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
And those opposed? Seeing none, it carries. Moving to item 6A, superintendent search update.
County Superintendent Gail Garbolino will deliver to the board some important details related to the superintendent search.
Good evening.
Sorry, we have a public.
Okay, I'll sit down. Teresa Zaro.
Thank you.
Thanks. There's no.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Oh, but it's being recorded or whatever. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I'm Teresa Zaro. I just wanted to speak to the superintendent hiring process. We all know how important it is to our and our community's future. And so I've been really frustrated with the public outreach and effort that has happened so far. I was told I feel like I only heard through other parents and through word of mouth that a focus group was happening. I did not see the focus group advertised in the newspaper. I did not see a catapult announcement. Maybe there was one. I did not see it listed in the superintendent updates. I did not get an email explaining that there was a focus group inviting all parents to participate. I didn't see signs posted at school drop-off. When I heard that it was happening, I even went to look for details about when and a Zoom link or something, and it wasn't on there. I really combed through it pretty extensively. And I eventually just had to, ask a fellow parent to send me the information. I have organized public outreach efforts. I have attended public outreach efforts. I have led public outreach efforts. And when only 4 people participate in a focus group, that's a failure of communicating the opportunity to outreach. And so I'm frustrated because now there's not enough time to do it more and again. And then also I participated in the focus group. It really felt like to me, honestly, more like a reading comprehension test than a true collecting viable information from me. We were asked to read lists of 12 traits that were all positive traits, and we had a minute to read through them and then choose our top 4. And you'll see from the data that will be presented shortly that it's ends up being pretty worthless data. We were not allowed to speak at all during the focus group, and we were not offered an opportunity to participate further. And that's all.
Okay.
Good evening, Gail Garbolino, County Superintendent. And we are in the home stretch for your superintendent. Since the last time we've met. So I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday at our special board meeting where we'll be going through those applications and narrowing down the candidates in which you feel are candidates that you want to in an interview. Questions or discussions regarding that. Stay today at that level. That is confidential information that we're not going to share. We simply have no exemption of the Brown Act. However, if you do have questions about a process, applicant, my cell phone number, I would encourage you to a conversation. Tonight, I'm here to present the partner input summary report that I have prepared for you. I apologize that Dr. Slattery cannot be here to her way able to make it. If we and if I say the page number, could you scroll to the page number? Would that work? Okay. I don't know.
It is.
Okay, great. So with that, I'd like to just draw your attention to page 7. We have introductory, well, actually probably before page 7. As it was indicated in the public comment, we did not have a large number of individuals that participated in the focus group by both the parents and by staff members. It was a pretty limited participation. We had about 9 total participants in that process. We had a better participation rate on the survey. You can tell we had about 81 participants between staff members and parents. And so I just want to caution you that with the focus group, that it's statistically not a significant, but it does mirror some of the themes that we saw in a larger sample size with the survey. So I don't think that there's anything that is not represented. I think it does kind of just mirrors that of a larger sample size. So if you can start off, we're going to turn to page 7. And this is the summary of the focus group poll questions. And we made the decision this year to change the name of this to a focus group. We had previously called it a community input section and confusion with boards sessions and then a community panel. There was some misunderstanding, so we took upon ourselves to change it to a focus group. We have received feedback that probably wasn't a great explanation as to what actually happened, and we are considering in the future adjusting the name of that input, seeking input. So I don't have to make that for it, but I do appreciate the feedback on that. If you go to page 7, under the analysis, we talk about the types of qualification. There was agreement among both of the focus groups, the employees and the parents, that they felt strongly that the next superintendent should be somebody who has worked with students in a setting as a teacher and a counselor, behavior specialist, and both felt, and so there was a lot of alignment in there. The employee focus group also valued equally important as a principal. Experience as a principal, and prior experience as a district superintendent or a district office administrator. So there was really consensus amongst the people that someone who has worked their way up through education to the higher level really look forward to. The next page, page 8, when we talk about the 3 most important skill sets, again, the focus group and the parent focus group on the 3 top desired skills. They want school and management background, and then somebody who understands the Auburn community. The focus group also wants to have a superintendent strong community involvement. But talking about the top 3 most important desired traits in a superintendent were identified the most important traits of for the new superintendent. For the parents and the employees, it was identified. And the employees also felt that it was important, along with empathy, understanding, and compassion, and the ability for the individual to be a relationship builder and a consensus seeker. And the parent group also wanted somebody who was focusing on the whole child, to be detail-oriented, purposeful, and pragmatic. When we talk about characteristics, we can see page 13. There was another agreement between the parents and the staff on the importance of the new superintendent to possess effective communication skills, and that both of them rated it as their top priority. The employee focus group has prioritized equally with communication, that they have that the new superintendent have integrity, strong values and principles, be reliable, honest, and loyal, and trustworthy. The parent focus group felt that the superintendent was collaborative, a problem solver, and a student-centered was their second area of priority. If we can move to page 15, when we talk about the top 4 most critical areas to focus for the next superintendent, the focus group again found commonality amongst the employees and the parents in 2 areas. And that is a strong school finance and budgeting skills alongside focusing on student achievement. The employee focus group also cited having strong skills in human resources and personnel management, in addition to being able to build strong foundational relationships with Auburn Union's employees. So that pretty much encapsulates surveys and responses from the focus group. The next section is the survey results, and we administered 2 different surveys, one to employees, one to parents, that had the employees had 6 questions, the parents had 4. So we'll start with the employees. And the first question was just demographic information. So we'll go into question 2. What are your educational leadership skills? Please rank in order. Educational leadership was, and I apologize, when we printed the chart, it cut off more of the explanation. So I apologize for that. So basically, educational leadership was prioritized. In question 3, I'm sorry, on page 17, what type of leadership style does the staff want to see? And there were descriptions as to what these leadership styles were. Equally as important were somebody who was a servant leader and somebody who has a collaborative leadership style. So those are the 2 leadership styles that your staff felt were important. On page 18, character traits, the highest vote getter on that was somebody who had integrity and effective communication. And then on page 19, interpersonal skills, somebody who has active listening and effective communication. So you're seeing a trend here throughout this as to effective communication is definitely a desired skill and trait. When we look at page 20 on foundational skills, we see what type of foundational skills do you want? The employees really felt somebody who had a background in school finance and budgeting alongside curriculum instruction were the two that really stood out for the employees. So to just review and make a synopsis is that the employees valued a superintendent who has educational leadership experience, who had previous teaching experience in schools, which mirrored what the focus group said, who demonstrates a leadership style of a servant leader and or a collaborative leadership style. They value integrity, empathy, emotional intelligence in their leader, and has a collaborative nature, effective communication skills, and somebody who is student-centered. As far as interpersonal skills, that they actively listen and is trustworthy, has a solid foundation in school finance and curriculum and instruction. If we go to the next two questions, desired qualities, these were ranked by parents. You can see that transparency was identified as a strength. And if we look at foundation skills, it was a background in curriculum and instruction. So as to summarize, the Auburn Union School District parents value transparency and effective communication skills in their next superintendent with a strong foundation in curriculum instruction and educational research. The survey also called for some open-ended questions. So section 3, we put that through a generator that provided us an analysis of these open-ended narrative. So we have a few questions that we asked the employees. And so I'm just going to go over the employees, the top 3. So what do you believe are the top 3 biggest challenges facing Auburn Union School District that the new superintendent should address? The staff felt that the number 1 thing that they should address is staff morale, retention, and satisfaction. The second thing that they think that they need to address is financial stability and budget management.
Excuse me, one moment. Jordan, it's on page 23.
Oh, I'm sorry. I stopped making, I'm sorry. And then the third was board and staff relations and leadership alignment. So that goes into a little bit of a description of what those are. In the following question, we asked, in your view, what strategies or approaches should the superintendent implement to improve student achievement and success? The staff stated that support and empower teachers was a priority. The implementation, next page, the implementation of MTSS, multi-tiered systems of support, and PBIS, positive behavioral interventions of support, were a priority, and to build trust and collaboration. Question 9, please share any experiences or interactions with superintendents that have shaped your opinion. So the responses really focused on superintendents they have interacted in the past that were listening, that had listening skills and collaboration. Superintendents that were visible and transparent, and superintendents that had leadership and financial management. So again, even in the open-ended questions, you can still see a theme throughout what we saw with the focus questions and what we felt with the multiple choice ranking questions as well. And the last questions that we asked the staff was, is there anything else you'd like the selection committee to consider when choosing a superintendent? The staff felt that they really want somebody with experience and provide stability. They want somebody who is collaborative and has relationship building skills, and somebody who is student-centered leadership. So all of the narrative responses, I shouldn't say all of them, but the narrative responses really focused in on those 3 areas. When we asked the parents the open-ended questions, what are your 3 best hopes for the next superintendent of Auburn Union? The parents focused on number 1, leadership and experience. Number 2, community engagement and transparency. And 3, putting students first and fiscal responsibility. Question 5, what are your 3 worst fears for the next Auburn Union School superintendent? The lack of stability and longevity, similar to what the staff felt as well. Failure to prioritize students and teachers, and lack of communication and transparency. So we're seeing transparency, communication, experience, effective communication skill. We're seeing some very similar themes throughout the document. Question 6, please share any experiences or interactions with superintendents that have shaped your opinion. After they answered the questions, it became apparent that there's the perception of lack of transparency and communication. They had experiences with that they had a level of dissatisfaction with previous superintendents and board leadership, and the desire for approachable, data-driven leaders. And the last question that, second to the last question that we asked the parents, is there anything else you'd like the selection committee to consider when choosing a superintendent? They pointed out the desired qualifications and characteristics, specifically somebody who has a K-8 knowledge of K-8 and the ability to build relations and trust. Again, relationship building, consensus, trust, transparency, those are all similar veins. Concerns and criticisms about the current state of the district, including low levels of trust, rapid superintendent turnover, poor management, and the influence of political ideologies on decision-making. Suggestions for the selection and process support for the next superintendents. Basically, they said many respondents offer suggestions for the selection process and expressed a desire for the board to come together and publicly support the next superintendent. And, that kind of resonated with me because I know that's what I said at the beginning of this process, that we really do want to have a 5-0 vote. And that's very important for the candidate to have that. And I think that it's very important for your community to have that, to show unity. So I was happy to see that. Additional comments, they made some comments about communication and transparency, calls for stability and support for educators, and criticism of school board dysfunction. So on the last page, 29, in summary, I think what we are looking for, what you should be looking for, what the community and your staff has opined is that you need to find somebody with experience, who has experience working with kids in a school setting, has a proven record of accomplished leadership at the high level of education, including the superintendent level, if possible, has strong interpersonal and communication skills that can lead to building bridges across the district and throughout the community, has a solid understanding of fiscal and personnel management, and has experience or effectively and productively worked with the Board of Trustees to move the district forward. So that is our partner input summary report. And last but not least, I do want to give you an update on where we are for interest for the panel, the community input panel. We have 2 teachers who have been selected. We have 5 parents who have expressed interest. 2 of those parents are married, so it's, both of them, but I wouldn't suggest putting both of them on the panel. 3 community leaders, and just as of today, we did have 2 managers who requested participation. We did not get any classified requests. So my question to you is, how would you like to go about? We initially talked about 2 teachers, 2 classifieds, 1 management, and 1 community members. That's 9 people. We currently have 2 teachers. We do have more than 3 parents. I have more than 1 community member, and I have more than 3 parents. I have 2 people per management, so I can always draw to figure out who that management person is, but I have 2 extra spots available. How would you like me to fill that? I can fill that with, we can have 2 managers. Since you have 2, since I'm going to have to draw names to figure out which manager to use, we can have 2 managers and they both get 2. I can add 1 more community member. I can add 1 more parent to the group. So I'm just, I have some space. So how would you like to fill those 2 open slots? Or we don't, and we just keep it, instead of 9, we keep it at 7. So those are options. I would love some input from the board.
This President Holt, I think, gosh, I really wish we could just go push classified some more and, maybe for one, but I'd like at least one more parent seat, and I'd be open to one more manager or community leader drawn at random from that pool.
Okay, so I didn't bring my home.
Here, this is,
I'll have, I.
okay.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is you would like to add one more parent.
Correct. One
Is-
parent and then this.
Is that acceptable to the rest of the board?
Yes. What's our maximum number of participants? You said 9.
Yeah, after 9, it gets a little unwieldy.
And did we decide against having a student or that wasn't an option?
Usually
believe
for
we
8th
did.
grade, it's not, if it was high school, I would say, yeah, get a student on board. 8th grade, it's a little. So I hear 2 board members who are okay with adding another parent. Is there any other board member that is okay with that or
I support that. I support a parent and a
For-
leader.
for a parent?
I support a parent, and then I would like to also see somebody classified as well.
Well, if we don't have any though. So I guess are you saying you'd like to see classified or just leave it
I would
open?
like to see a classified on there as well, since they'll be represented.
Me? Okay.
So far we have no, sorry, what has CSCA indicated that they,
I communicated to the CSCA chapter president and said, how would you like to meet to gather names? Do you want to gather names and then give them to me? Or do
Yeah.
you want names to be submitted just to me? And she said, oh, just to have names submitted to you. And I'm like,
Okay.
okay, great. And then I didn't get any names. And then
Yeah.
today, I talked to Ms. Bunt and said, hey, listen, did anybody contact you? And she said,
Yeah.
no, she would be willing to serve. My understanding is that she's a manager and then your IT director, who's also a manager. They're both classified management, but they are exempt employees. So they would fit under the management
Okay.
tier. So.
I do want to acknowledge that it's giving up your entire Saturday. So I mean, I know that,
100%.
yeah, I know it's a lot to ask. I know some
100%.
people have expressed interest, but it is a lot to give up. So
Totally.
that might be one of our constraints.
Would it be possible to give like a 1-week extension for just for a classified employee to take that seat? And after that, I would suggest opening it up to a random draw of the other community leaders and the other manager we have on here.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
be
so
okay
good.
with that.
I'll
That works.
shoot out another email to classified. We do have some time. And then depending if it's not filled, then we do a random draw of everybody else who wasn't selected. Got it. That works. Okay. And that's all that I have to report tonight. And if there's no other questions, I look forward to seeing you next week at 6 p.m. here. Great. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you then. Okay, moving to item 6B, the update on the TK transition. And do we have public comment on that one? Okay.
Thank you.
Over here. Okay. Good evening, President Holt, trustees, staff and guests. My name is Michelle Lucci Garcia. I'm your interim super. Yes, the microphone feels so misleading, right? Yeah, I got it. Okay, I'll use my future voice. This is I'm Michelle Lucci Garcia, and I'm here to present to you tonight the TK8 implementation update. And so, Jordan, we're going to roll through the first few slides. The first few slides are put there. You've seen them already. They've been posted the last board meeting. I left them on there for historical context. I like to do that. Almost like a spiral review when you look at the board agenda. So we're going to move right into the benefits of TK8. And again, you've seen this information before, but I just want to outline some of the benefits of transitioning to a TK8. would be strong academics and social foundations for students, opportunities for students at younger ages to participate in sports and leadership and arts, band, and then giving, giving our families the opportunity to have a neighborhood school, and again, providing long-term fiscal relief to the district. Jordan, you can roll the next one. Student supports, again, this is a recap, but behind the board of our centers. So we heard from our staff that a PBIS relaunch is something that staff would like. So we have that scheduled and in place. MTSS will continue. Our Title I programs will continue. Principals are creating their master schedules to include an art teacher at each site, a PE teacher at each site, and 2 VAPA teachers district-wide. And then, of course, we're working on what intramurals will look like in our district. And we have a meeting scheduled. All of the principals or their designee are meeting with Sierra Foothills along with me. And that's coming up in May. We have put together, we still have transportation vouchers for city and county transit. We're also going to be writing into our LCAP transportation for students to participate in the variety of sports and programs that we're going to be offering. Again, art and band at all sites, and tours scheduled for staff. We have staff that is scheduled to go tour some of our neighboring TK8 schools to see how things work at a TK8 and to speak with staff there as well. Thanks, Jordan. Okay, so TKK for the EV Cane Cubs. This is some of the furniture that has been picked out and purchased, is in the purchase process for our newest Cane Cubs who will start TK at EV Cane this fall. It's just some of it. I just put the exciting pictures. Okay, Jordan. And then the TKK playground that was chosen by Principal Mayberry, the CBO Leslie has put the order in for that, and we're getting that. That project will take place in June. Thank you. And we'll bring an update on that at a later date with some more firm dates. And then, of course, the trikes, which we know our TK students love to ride around. Some tables and a variety of other things that we're going to be putting out for our Cane Cubs. Jordan, next slide. Thank you. And then, of course, our elementary playground. Again, Principal Mayberry got to pick out a playground. It's pretty exciting to pick out a playground, as some of our other TK teachers can attest to, who got to help with that. So, but this is for the elementary students. So we have the TKK playground, and then we have the elementary playground. Thank you, Jordan. So Special Education Director Young and her staff have worked really hard on looking at student data and analyzing need. They've also worked with our PCOE partners to ensure that we're offering our programs in a meaningful way. And so this is the list of programs that will be offered at each site. Give you a second to look at that. And then, of course, I'm going to post this on our website, so you'll have access to this tomorrow. Go ahead, Jordan. And then the next steps, the next thing we're working on, well, we're always working on the things, right? But the next major focus is getting our TKK roundups at all 3 of our sites, continuing our communication via the regular updates. You can check out our website. We have a TK8 implementation button now. So when you open up the homepage, is at the top, easy to access. All of the updates are posted there. That's where this slide deck and all of our board slide decks will be. We are working on finalizing staffing and continued ongoing meetings regarding enrollment. And one more, Jordan. And at the next board meeting, you will hear an update on staffing, enrollment, and our summer projects. Thank you. Any questions?
One of the things, this is Clerk Grigsby. One of the things that I was reminding myself about library books. Do we need to help in any way gathering the different age groups for the other schools, or is there anything that we can do to help, like yard sales? I mean,
Thank you for that
Donations?
question. So we are currently working, Kate Carlberg, she's the executive assistant to the Ed Services Department, and she is working with the library technicians. We actually have a process for how we, weed books and purchase books and put books on the shelves. And so she's working with them to ensure that we have titles for all students TK through 8, high interest titles for our students. So they'll be putting together their orders for next year, but for right now, instead of ordering more books, because we know that there's gonna be some moving, we're gonna be working on getting some boxes and really sorting through some of those titles. And then when the school year starts up and the library technicians have gotten their libraries up and running and sorted, then they'll have an opportunity to purchase more titles.
Trustee Ross, I really don't mean to add more things to your plate, but there's a $40,000 grant right now for libraries and especially expansion on libraries. And I would love to send it to anybody or even help fulfill anything that needs to be fulfilled with that.
Thank you.
I think we're still having to announce our names, right, for translation. This is Trustee Brickler. I see that you had mentioned an enrollment update would occur at our May 8th board meeting. When do you anticipate that families who are seeking transfers might have information about where their students will attend school?
So the principals are finalizing their enrollment. We just met this week. And then, so they have letter templates already ready to go. When they're ready, then we meet, they all, choose a date that they're going to be notifying families, and that's what we do district-wide. So I don't want to rush them because we don't want to have mistakes or, or make errors, but they are absolutely working on that.
I do want to acknowledge that this is a tremendous workload for principals and staff and at the district office. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Faisal League, is that still on the table? I'm grateful to see that Sierra Foothills League is that there will be talks for that's the league that is at Bowman and kind of like going up the hill somewhat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's several.
But I thought I'd heard previously there might be an option to play in the Faisal League still. Is that still on the table?
So Principal Mayberry spoke with the Faisal officials, and again, I don't have it all in front of me, so I'm going to give you the big picture. So from my understanding, there is an opportunity for us to petition to have our district enter into Faisal. Mayberry has those details as she's the point of contact, but I think we have to approach them in November. So that's something that she has on her radar. The principals have on their radar. Our vice principal has been like an athletic director in the past, so she's very well versed in leagues and what it takes to to get sports going.
Did you say November?
Yes, I believe that's what I believe that's the date. That's the month that she gave me. Again, I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
But
Well, I don't
yes.
want to put you on the spot. Could we possibly request an update regarding the status of Faisal? November sounds too late to me, but I might be missing
Sure.
something.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. I'm just going to stay here because I have the next one too.
So next is the budget reduction review.
Okay, Michelle Luchi Garcia again, reminding myself to talk in my big voice because the microphone doesn't project. So I just wanted to bring to the board. So in the last month, I put a couple of slides in showing the budget reductions. I just wanted to kind of drill down into that a little bit for you here today. Jordan, slide 2, please. Thank you. So just this again is not new information. In fact, what we're going to see is not new. It's more of a reminder and the opportunity for you to view it in its own slide deck. So again, the reduction of personnel and the utilities is a total cost savings again of $483,000 plus dollars. But I wanted you to see the out years, right? Because we, when we have been talking about budget reduction, I've only focused on 24, 25. But if you look in the out years, you'll see the cost savings will increase based on our projections. Thank you, Jordan. Next slide. And then the expenses for transitioning to TK8. Again, you've seen these expenses. There might be something new on there. Oh yeah, we have a few new things. So we have our stipends for our activity director and our coaches, sports uniforms, sports busing. But you'll notice here that this is all restricted money. And there will be more written into the LCAP to support our. These are just the big top subjects and topics that people have been asking about. And so the total cost for 24-25 is about $1 million. But if you look, that cost decreases. So again, part of that would be, additional time for staff to move, moving costs, facility improvements, that type of thing. But if you look over at the funding source, it's all a variety of restricted funding that we're using. So again, we are protecting the general fund. We're using our restricted wisely to make this transition. Okay, Jordan, thanks. And then the savings versus the expenses. So in 24-25, you can see our total savings. But then again, as you look forward, you will see those, the savings increases. So again, the total expenses is of the general fund. So the zero there means zero general fund dollars are being spent. The costs that we are projecting are going to be spent out of restricted funding. And that's it. Any questions?
Any questions?
Trustee Brickler, will these slides be available? Will these be posted as part
Online.
of the TK? Okay.
Yes. First thing in the morning, they'll
Thank
be
you.
up. Uh-huh.
Clerk Grigsby, for confirmation, when it shows the total savings, 483 for 24-25 and 492 for 25-26, is that on addition, or is that like the $11,900 difference showing in those $2? Is it 483 plus 492?
Oh, got it. So no, so in 24-25, we'll save 483,000, and then in 25-26, it will increase to 492,000, and so on.
Wait, this president, I want to clarify, it's an additional 192,000 saved in 25-26, is what you're saying, right?
25-26 will be.
Yeah, it's annual.
Yeah,
savings, not
okay.
So
I understand what you're asking now. Correct. That's correct. Thank you.
About 1.5 over 3
Yeah.
years.
Thanks for clarifying that. Yep.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. All right. And moving to item 6D, Skyridge Elementary School special presentation.
Principal Christia Day will speak about the updates for Skyridge Elementary School.
That's the end. Wasn't it awesome? Hey, and I'll just give you a thumbs up when it's time to do the slide. How about that? All right, we got this dialed. Good evening, Board President Holt, Clerk Grigsby, Trustee Brickler, Trustee Wedge, Trustee Ross, and Superintendent Lucia Garcia. I'm excited to be here this evening to give a glimpse into all that's been going on at Skyridge this year. Before I share the wonderful things happening at our school, I want to thank the Auburn Union School District for offering me the opportunity to serve as principal at Skyridge this year. 13 years prior to arriving on site as principal, I was a parent. Walking the campus still floods me with precious memories of my elementary-aged children's school experience and provides great inspiration to carry on the traditions that will have an indelible impact on the children of Auburn today. My family enjoyed 5 years as part of the Skyridge community. Pictured here is my daughter receiving an award in the classroom where Mrs. McDonald now teaches, my second son with a glowing Mrs. Emerson, my oldest son in second grade with Mrs. Gruber, and my youngest boys in their jammies at the holiday breakfast. These experiences meant so much to my family and I, and it has been an honor to serve and become part of the legacy of Skyridge as principal. This year, we have focused on the theme of Be the Good at Skyridge. There is no limit to the good things that happen every day at our school. A child's school day provides them with a wide array of experiences. But for tonight's presentation, please allow me to focus on these 5 elements of Skyridge: community, academics, opportunity, fun, and care. At Skyridge, we are a community. Our families, of course, come together on school days, with parents greeting one another during morning drop-off and pickup each day. But our community extends beyond the school week. We are especially thankful for our PTC, who do so very much for our school community with activities, school-wide incentives, playground improvements, and so much more. Families are able to connect all year long at engaging events, rooting parents and children alike deeper in this tremendous community of Falcons. We encourage our students to contribute to our school community by showing positive behaviors that make our school a safe and inviting place to be. We challenge our Falcons to soar, say it, own it, act it, respect it in everything they do around campus. This year, we were recognized again as a PBIS Gold School for our efforts. Every month, we take time to recognize students who have been extra determined to soar. We also recognize many more students by drawing Falcon feathers, and this past month welcomed the Lions Club of Auburn, who made a presentation to several lucky students for their efforts in reading. Not only are we grateful for our school community, but also for those businesses and organizations that choose to partner with us in a variety of ways. Our Larry Ford Garden Program is an award-winning outdoor learning lab for our students. Not only does each class have a monthly visit, learning more about the garden employee of the month and maintaining the garden, but there's also a space for teachers to host outdoor lessons. We are so appreciative of the parents and the Auburn Master Gardeners who volunteer their time to pour into Skyridge. The seeds they plant will produce for many years to come. Elementary schools are notoriously female dominated, so we love our Watchdogs programs, dads of great students. These important men, dads, uncles, grandfathers, and mentors have shown up this year, interacting with our students in the classroom, on the playground, and all around our campus to the delight of our students. I've heard it said that when you are a watchdog, you are a Skyridge celebrity. At Skyridge, we learn. We want every child to find the highest level of success. We utilize district-approved curriculum, focusing on state standards with tiered levels of support to meet individual student needs. While we provide consistency across grade levels and program offerings, each child's experience is unique because of the tremendous talent of each of our teachers to differentiate instruction. We want every student to reach their fullest potential. We meet 3 times each year for our multi-tiered systems of support, MTSS meetings, to review data and determine next steps for our students. Each and every student in our school is reviewed by our staff team, including our Title I reading specialist, ELD coordinator, wellness staff, school mental health specialists, classroom teachers, and administrators to discuss how we can meet their distinct needs and help them grow in every aspect of their school lives. These meetings are a testament to the collaborative work done by our entire school community. We also provide tiered levels of support in math. I'm so pleased that our school has shown progress and is moving in the right direction with our math state assessments. We are in the green. There is still work to be done, however, so we will continue with the systems we have in place to minimize the gaps for our socioeconomically disadvantaged student groups. We desire equitable opportunities for every child at Skyridge. We celebrate our students' academic achievements every day, conquering times tables or division, determining themes in a text, or identifying every upper and lowercase letter in the alphabet. It's even more exciting when a student makes a major jump in their learning. This year, we have seen RSP students graduate from special education, English language, and full grade levels move to the vast majority of students being at or exceeding standard. Each and every day, there are countless learning experiences impacting our children's hearts and minds. I'm incredibly proud of our students for their determination to learn, and I cannot say enough about the dedicated teaching staff at Skyridge, who are always ready to improve their practice and add their own special touch so their students have the finest education. At Skyridge, we create opportunity and a whole lot of it. There is so much happening. We are currently hosting after-school clubs, including drama, Spanish, dance, chess, robotics, creative writing, homework help, truckers, and art. I'm exhausted. There is something for everyone. Skyridge students have enjoyed assemblies this year on bucket fillers, the Auburn Symphony, and Dr. Blake Brandis with his growth mindset message on the power of yet. They've hiked the canyon, walked to the Capitol building, watched salmon spawn, and frolicked in the pumpkin patch. And they aren't done yet. With field trip season upon us, our teachers are making the most of every day so that every single child experiences their grade level to the full. Our VAPA program offers every student an introduction to the arts, while PE pushes them to keep their bodies healthy and active. Our art docent program offers another look at master artists, while our makerspace docent program encourages children to think in a different way about the world around them. And I haven't even mentioned our amazing sight word busters who faithfully show up to our school daily to help students tackle the most critical words. At Skyridge, we have fun. School is a place that should be fun. Learning, being with friends, celebrating, attempting new things, and laughing together are critical elements of every child's development. From our monthly soaring assemblies and class rewards to spirit dress-up days and holiday celebrations, we enjoy our time at Skyridge. According to the Federal Reserve, next to sleeping, a child will spend the greatest amount of their time at school. We want our students to look forward to each day at a place where they find meaning and joy. If pictures say 1,000 words, I'm sure you will agree that at Skyridge, there appears to be a whole lot of joy going on. And finally, at Skyridge, we care about people. We are intentional to support our students' social and emotional well-being through a variety of resources. AUSD's amazing district mental health specialists are tremendous support to our students and our staff. This year, we've hosted several grade level meetings addressing such topics as bullying, gossip, and harassment for our older student groups. We also piloted a new program called Safe School Ambassadors to help students identify and respond to bullying on campus. We had 30 students and 4 staff members participate in a 2-day training and are excited about the impact it's had on our campus. Our wellness center is open each day, providing students with a safe space for a brain break or an opportunity to process through a challenge. Additionally, our wellness center provides classroom lessons and lunch bunch groups, as well as other groups that address topics such as self-confidence and empathy. Our 4th and 5th grade junior coaches volunteer to support younger students during recess times, teaching them to play new games and learn how to resolve conflict. And every Thursday is Kindness Thursday, reminding us how we should treat one another. At Skyridge, we recognize that school is not only about a child's mind, it is also about their heart. You may have heard the phrase that people don't usually care what you know until they know that you care. This philosophy has guided me personally in my educational career, and it's the foundation I hope is evident to every student, parent, and visitor that walks on the Skyridge campus. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Trustee Ross, I just want to acknowledge all the effort and work that you all have put in. I had the honor and blessing of sitting down with Miss Ade, and she went through reading scores with me and how much they've advanced. And I'm just so honored. I'm so proud to be able to walk on that campus. And I truly have to shout out Miss McDonald, who goes above and beyond. And working with her and Mr. Pack in drama has just been so incredible. So thank you for allowing me on your campus. And thank you all for doing everything you do for our kids. It's just wonderful.
Trustee Wedge, just want to thank you as a new principal in a transition year. It sounds like you're doing an amazing job and having a positive impact. And just by the support I see here from the teachers tonight, hopefully this means you're going to be staying around for quite a while. Thank you.
Thank you.
Trustee Brickler, I just want to say a simple thank you because there are so many people that come together and work incredibly hard and are so dedicated. And it's emotional for me because just walking onto campus, you feel it. You at any of our campuses, you really see how much collaboration it takes to serve our students. And I'm just very grateful for all the contributions that the members of our school community make. Thank you.
Clerk Grigsby, just to reiterate, thank you so much. I mean, this is wonderful. It's been a great year watching everything come through. Yes, absolutely.
So again, thank you. Thank the staff there. And it really is incredible, all of the opportunities that are available, all the clubs. I probably spent 20 minutes filling out permission slips last week. So it's just an awesome amount of opportunities that the Skyridge community is able to provide for those students. Thank you.
Agreed.
I also have to shout out Scott on his music selection because when I walk in and he's cleaning the NPR and he's blasting some of those specials, I'm telling you, like the mood is so good. So shout out to Scott and his music.
All right.
With that, if Trustee Brickler, if we can move into special recognitions. Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good evening. It is such an honor to be able to present our recognition and to recognize members of the Skyridge community for all of their contributions. First up is, let's see, I think she was outside, Cher Bennett. Cher, come on up if you would, please. This evening, we recognize Cher Bennett as a classified employee at Skyridge for the 23-24 school year. Having previously worked at Alta Vista, Miss Bennett was a recognizable face for many of our students and staff who transitioned to Skyridge this year. Along with many of her colleagues who transplanted from this beloved site, Miss Bennett represents the legacy of Auburn Union School District. Miss Bennett serves our school as a paraprofessional in our special education department. This year, our RSP or resource program had to flex for a number of changes and a very demanding caseload. During this year, Ms. Bennett has been the anchor for our program and our students. She is kind, extremely organized, diligent in her work practices, and effective in assisting students. Her calm demeanor sets students and adults alike at ease. She demonstrates tremendous flexibility, is receptive to feedback, and is always willing to learn new methods to enhance learning opportunities for students. She has stepped up to help in a wide variety of capacities within the RSP program, going outside of her job requirements to ensure that children at Skyridge succeed. In addition to her role in RSP, Ms. Bennett stepped up to help in our Homework Help Club and has taken the lead for our first and second grade art club. We are sincerely grateful for all Ms. Bennett has contributed to Skyridge this year. Next up is Danny Murphy. Let's give him a round of applause. This year's parent recognition is awarded to Mr. Danny Murphy. Mr. Murphy is the parent of Rowan, who is in 3rd grade, and Juniper, who is in 1st grade at Skyridge. Together with his wife, Mr. Murphy is responsible for our PTC Family Movie Night. This event happens relatively early in the year and sets the tone for the community we experience at Skyridge. Mr. Murphy is a regular on our campus during the school day as well. He single-handedly facilitates our Makerspace docent program. As an engineer, he designs activities that are engaging and fun for classroom docents to execute with individual classes. He ensures that materials are available and that lesson plans are prepared to make it as easy as possible for parent volunteers. Mr. Murphy also sits on our site council, providing valuable input to school programs. Most recently, Mr. Murphy, along with Trustee Brickler, have launched our robotics club. We had our inaugural club meeting today, and it was awesome thanks to Mr. Murphy. His knowledge and expertise has already proven invaluable in the development of a brand new program, and his enthusiasm has students excited to learn. Finally, Mr. Murphy is also involved in the Watchdogs program, interacting with children all across our campus. He represents these great men who give of their time to enrich the lives of many students at Skyridge. We are so grateful for Mr. Murphy's behind-the-scenes contributions that create additional depth and opportunity for students at Skyridge, and are so pleased to honor him this evening. Kelsey McDonald. Can we do another round? Let's do a round. It could be said that Kelsey McDonald has Skyridge in her veins. As the eldest daughter of one of our beloved teachers, Kelsey has spent a tremendous amount of time at the Skyridge campus. Though teachers often volunteer their children to perform a variety of tasks around a school campus, Kelsey is always willing to help and often identifies ways in which she might be able to contribute to a need. Kelsey serves as a student ambassador on our PBIS team. Representing her peers and other students at Skyridge, she attends meetings to contribute her thoughts and ideas to make our school a great place to be. As she sits in these meetings in a room full of adults, I am often struck by her confidence and insight. This is Mrs. Aday's voice speaking. She also assists with the soaring student assemblies, helping to pass out awards and organize materials every month. Kelsey is identified as a school leader and is a charter member of our Safe School Ambassadors program. Kelsey is involved in the drama club as well, both as a student performer and as a helper for younger students. She is always kind and encouraging to those around her. During her recess breaks, Kelsey heads to her mom's classroom to support our youngest learners, and they absolutely love her. She works hard at her schoolwork and is a positive contributor to her classroom and grade level, always volunteering for class projects. Kelsey is a joy to know and to have at Skyridge, and it is a delight to honor her this evening.
You want to hand me the excess paper? Oh, yeah. Copy out.
Okay. All right, and April Johnstone. Skyridge would like to honor Mrs. April Johnstone for her work as a 2nd grade teacher. Mrs. Johnstone contributes to the Skyridge school community in so many valuable ways. She is a longstanding teacher with effective classroom procedures that make every student in her class feel confident and secure. Her classroom management skills are top-notch, coupled with a keen sense of what students need to not only excel in their grade level, but also be prepared for the following year. Mrs. Johnstone is a quintessential colleague, always ready to cover for a fellow teacher, collaborate on lesson plan ideas, support another teacher's project or program, or cover a partner teacher's class during a rainy day recess. In addition to her role as a teacher, Mrs. Johnstone also runs not only the Skyridge Dance Club, but also the Dance Club for Evie Kane. She brings excitement and joy to our students all year long through this discipline. And when you watch her working with them, it is abundantly clear she delights in watching their success. Mrs. Johnstone serves as an administrative designee, providing support for students and teachers during a principal absence. She also co-produces the school's talent show, an event that creates an an immense amount of pride and joy for students and families alike. As a teacher who is also a parent, Mrs. Johnstone is a member of our PTC, going well outside of expectations, volunteering with nearly every event that happens at our school. Generally speaking, if there is something that needs to be done at school, Mrs. Johnstone will make sure that it happens. Mrs. Johnstone has a steely determination to provide every ounce of support possible for Skyridge, not wanting any recognition. She simply wants our school to be the best it can be. And without hesitation, when asked why she does all that she does, she simply says, "I love this school." Thank you.
Yeah, where should we? Maybe we should take a 5-minute recess and we can kind of go right over here, move around. Okay, so with that, it is 8:33. Let's round up and we will resume session at 8:39. Is 8:40, so we're going back into session. Oop. Thank you. All right, and let's let everyone filter in for a second here.
Yeah. Public comment.
Okay. Great. Have you got the timer? Okay. All right.
No, I gave it.
Either or, I'm fine.
Yeah, do you mind calling? Or
You ready?
Yep. All right, so item number 8, this is gonna be public comment on things not on tonight's agenda. So I see we've got seven public comment. If there's any additional after that, we don't have a speaker in here. So this is just for the Zoom. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so you can't hear me, or is that? Okay, good deal. So I see that we've got 7 people have indicated public comment. If there's any additional after that, if it's 1 or 2, we can take it, but if it's gonna be more, we'll have to move it to the end of the meeting. So with that, starting on our public comment.
Okay, Tanya Reed. Tanya Reed. Okay. Thank you. Lynn Tietze. If you hold it down, yes.
Okay, don't take away my time for that first sentence, please. Okay, my name's Lynn Tietze. I teach 3rd grade at Auburn. I'd like to tell you about my class. I have 27 students, which is 3 over the maximum I'm supposed to have. 1/3 of my students have ADHD. 1/3 are English language learners, and 2 of those speak no English and are at 2 completely different academic levels. 5 of my students have special education plans for learning disabilities, and 1 is autistic. I teach students who are at grade levels from kindergarten through 5th grade in math and kindergarten through 6th grade in reading. I'm expected to differentiate my teaching so that each student is taught at their own grade level. To do this, I work at least 15 hours unpaid overtime a week, which is 2 additional days. And I have the easy class in 3rd grade this year. I do not have children who are violent, who hurl curses and threats at me or classmates. I don't have students that are hysterical multiple times a day, who try to hurt themselves, or who try to run out of class screaming on a regular basis, but my colleagues do. On top of these stresses, Auburn elementary teachers have been through a school consolidation, and now we're told a complete restructuring of the district this year. And we know what that means. It means job instability. Most of us have no idea where we'll be teaching or what our grade level will be next year. Again, it means more hours of unpaid overtime as we pack and unpack classrooms. It means more difficult behaviors from students as they try to cope with the stress that this causes. It means that our students are not at their best, and neither are we. It means learning loss. And if we do not get an actual cost of living increase, it means that once again, we are being asked to do more work under worse circumstances for less pay. If you want to lose good teachers, this is the way to do it. We completely understand the importance of balancing the budget. That's being done solely by eliminating the 4 teaching positions. There is not one shred of hard evidence that the restructuring will save 1 cent. All we hear is projections and speculation. And frankly, we don't believe anything you people are saying because of the financial mismanagement of the district. So why are you insisting on pushing going to K-8 this year? Well, we know 3 of our new board members are here to push their politics and their religion. And the end game for them is privatization and a voucher system. If you want to deny that's why you're here, then show us hard evidence that what you're doing, the benefits are going to outweigh the harm that you are causing. You owe us that. And by the way, only having a venue that will not seat everyone except at times where you have packed the room with your cronies for Moms for Liberty is despicable, and it's disrespectful for our entire community. Thank you very much.
Lisa McBroom.
It's on, or do I have to? All right. Good evening. My name is Lisa McBroom, and I am a kindergarten teacher here at AUSD.
Tonight, I want to address a few concerns and to get maybe some clarifications on some rumors and some plan details. First, I really do appreciate the weekly updates, but they just lead to more questions. Questions like, am I to understand that we are going to hire one English teacher, one math teacher, one science teacher, and one social studies teacher who will be expected to teach 2 periods of 6th grade, 2 periods of 7th grade, and 2 periods of 8th grade in one day? In a 6-hour day, they're going to fit all of that in and a prep and a lunch. I would love to see a bell schedule in the next update. As I review the plans, I've already seen a few mistakes. Grade 6, Group A is going to be in 2 classes at the same time. I'm not sure how that's going to happen. I've also read that the district wants to put together a community to visit the Loomis TK8 district. This should have been done months ago. Teachers should have been involved in this planning. My own children attended Loomis Grammar, as that's where I reside. In their 6th grade, they have 2 teachers per grade level. One that teaches math and science, one that teaches language arts and social studies. They have a PE teacher, and when my children attended, they had a Spanish teacher. So if teachers are expected to execute this plan that the superintendent, along with some of the principals, are helping to do, I think teachers need to be more involved in the planning. My second concern are families are going to be asked to change schools again. Their intent forms were sent out. Many of the forms have been returned to the schools, and the students are saying, and the families are saying, they want to stay at the schools that they are at. We've been told that the families will have choices, but we know this is not true. Families will be forced to attend schools where they are outside, where they are in their boundaries. I'm asking that our board show leadership in this. President Holt, his children are in the Auburn Elementary Zone. He chooses to put them in Skyridge. That's his choice. However, will he be at E.V. Kane next year? Lead by example. If E.V. Kane is going to be retrofitted to a TK8 and it's good for everybody else, it should be good for our board members also. The last thing really quickly is inflation is up 3.5% this year. Food, housing, cost, gas, everything is up. Teachers deserve more than 0%. More than 0% that this district is offering. You want us to do all of this huge change again, and you're telling us we're worth 0%. We deserve more, and our children in this district deserve more. Monica Peak.
Hi, my name is Monica Peak, TK teacher at AUSD for 13 years. I'm going to jump right in and say that I am so disappointed in our 2 board members, Mr. Holt and Mr. Wedge. When we teachers were trying to make sure our precious students had basic human rights like clean water in every classroom, he publicly called us fear mongers at a board meeting without ever visiting our school to see what was really happening. We spoke the truth. He did not. When I attended and spoke at the city council meeting, one of the city council members told Mr. Holt that he needed to be a better listener to his constituents. While she said this, I looked over and saw him texting furiously on his phone. He wasn't even listening to the city council telling him to be a better listener. No wonder we feel at board meetings as though everything falls on deaf ears. Then Mr. Wedge claims that the CTA is evil, but says that he doesn't consider his teachers so bad. That's equivalent to me saying that his church is evil, but I don't think he's a bad person. Or Moms of Liberty are evil, and then the teachers are, but they're not so bad. The members. We are the CTA. These 2 men are not supporting the teachers. I would love a cost of living increase to pay my bills. Not supporting the students and families by rushing to change our schools drastically to TK8 without a transparent plan. I guess they still don't have one. not listening to or supporting our community by approving $1.5 million in retrofitting schools to save $400,000 by cutting 2 full-time teachers? What kind of logic is this? Are these 2 men trying to run our district into the ground? So many things that they have done and decisions that they have inappropriately made to affect so many people. This is not what leaders do. This is why I'm demanding that Greg Holt and Jason Wedge step down from being AUSD board members. By demeaning our teachers, they are hindering the quality of education that is necessary for our community and students to grow and be strong. This is not what leaders do. Thank you.
Amanda Robinson.
Hi, my name is Amanda Robinson, and I am a longtime AUSD employee. I started in 2005 at EV Kane, and I will not be finishing in 25 at EV Kane because that's not where kindergartners should be, in my opinion. And I only wrote my name down to speak in case Monica didn't have enough time because I felt her words were really powerful and important. I'm very proud of her because she is my student teacher and she learned from me, and CTA is pretty awesome.
Pat Bassoni.
Good evening, board and teachers, parents, everybody else. Yeah, I'd like to speak tonight kind of on a twofold thing. I first want to say thank you to the board and all the hard work that you guys have had to do. Thank you for the tough decisions that you've had to make to save this district from the state taking over, which when you check into that, it's a pretty serious thing when when your schools get taken over by the state. And so when you are faced with a decision like that coming in, and as President Holt and Wedge and Grigsby came into this, it was a really tough decision, a hard decision, not one that's going to make everybody happy, of course. And so I just want to say thank you to all of you working together. The last board meeting was actually a joy. The beginning of this one was a joy. But I know that there's so much frustration going on. So my second fold is that I'm here to also represent the teachers too, because I'm a retired teacher. I sub in our district. And I realize that the teacher morale at Auburn, talking to the parents and people that come onto the campus, the teacher morale is very low. And again, you can hear when you guys come up and, you know, wanting to have you guys, you know, step down and stuff like that, you know, that doesn't really bring a cohesiveness to our district. You know, we have to try to do the best we can with the hard decisions that we have to make for the kids, for the teachers. And I'm here to support that the teachers do get a COLA raise. They need to have that. A 0 is unacceptable. And I just really hope that you guys will hear that and really look at everything and see what you can do to show these teachers that you do appreciate them. So we can bring our community together for the best for our children, the best for the teachers, and the best for our board and our community. Thank you.
Sarah Hudspeth.
Hi, I'm Sarah Hudspeth. I have been teaching in this district for 7 years, and there's just so much to say that it is hard to narrow down. But here we are again in a room that is way too small for us to fit comfortably, regardless of the fact that we have 4 multi-purpose rooms at our disposal. Sure, let's meet here where we can't fit. I'm concerned that there is members of this board that do not care about its constituents. The county superintendent issued a letter of ongoing concern for our district over finances. Our county superintendent told us to hold on, stop, take a breath. No more big changes. Let's figure this out. We didn't listen.
Our students have come to these meetings, staying up way past their bedtimes to say, stop, we don't want this. Our community has answered surveys and created petitions to say, stop, wait, hold on, we aren't ready for this. Your teachers continually show up to say, stop, hold on, let's take a breath. Our elected officials, elected to serve our community, are continuing on. We're moving forward, causing teachers to be out of their classrooms multiple days to discuss how this is going to happen, how we're going to make this change happen. We know that this change is going to happen on the backs of the teachers and staff. So many of us moved last year and we're being told we're going to move our classrooms again. We're not dumb. We know that most of our classrooms are going to have to change, even if we don't change sites. That's a lot of work. That's more than 2 comp days worth of work. Now, our board has not only continued moving forward, they've openly vilified our CTA, they've dismissed safety concerns from staff, they've name called, they've offered us 0% increase and continue to make us meet in this small space. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful and it's not okay. That's not how you treat people that are your employees. It's not okay. So how can a board that is elected to serve a community so easily ignore what the students, families, teachers, and even the county superintendent are saying?
All right, moving forward to item 9A then, the AUTA Association comments.
Good evening, board and interim superintendent Lucci Garcia. We're here again tonight with all of our teachers because we need a basic cost of living increase to pay our bills, to provide for our families, to provide for ourselves, and to basically get by. 0% is not going to cut it. Not on the vote, not on not a vote that we want to have. Also, our CBO, who is unqualified, continues to make huge accounting mistakes. PCOE has issued yet again another letter dated April 1st of growing concerns. This is not what is best for our district, staff, students, or families. We need accountability, clear communication, and transparency. The Auburn Union School District needs to effectively manage all of their resources, that's their budget, their facilities, and everything else. And they need to improve existing core programs. Auburn Union needs to take care of its students that it has right now. It needs to have high quality programs for all kids. We can't think about this idea that I can get rich quick scheme. Or let's not deal with the expenditure side of the house. Let's figure out how we can bring more revenue in. There is a time and place for that, and now is not the time. This is a direct quote from our county superintendent, Gail Garbalina Mojica. The definition of leadership is the ability of an individual or group of people to influence and guide followers or members of an organization, society, or a team. Leadership often is an attribute tied to a person's title, seniority, or ranking. However, it is an attribute anyone can have or attain, even those without leadership positions. It is a developable skill that can be improved over time. Leaders are found and required in most aspects of society, including business, politics, and social community-based organizations. Leaders are seen as people who make sounds and sometimes difficult decisions. They articulate a clear vision, establish achievable goals, and provide followers with the knowledge and tools necessary to give those goals. An effective leader has the following characteristics: self-confidence, strong communication, management skills, creative and innovative thinking, perseverance, willingness to take risks, open to change, level-headed, and reactiveness for times of crisis. I have yet to see this in an Auburn superintendent or the current school board. Our community superintendent has said stop and stop. Take care of the students we currently have and commit to quality programs. This does not include a TK8 program at this time. Maybe down the road, but right now, we need to take care of our staff, our students, and our community. In solidarity, Sarah Liebert, AUTA President.
Okay. All right. Moving to item 10, the consent agenda. Is there anything anybody would like to pull?
This is Trustee Ross. I'd love to pull B and F.
Trustee Brickler, I'd like to pull G, 1, 4, and I, please.
Anybody else? Okay. So less items 10B, F, G, correction, 10G1 and 10G4. And item I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
All right. And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? All right. Seeing none, carries. All right. Trustee Ross, if you want to start us off.
So I pulled B because I really just want to take a moment to acknowledge Christopher and Mr. Scott and all their work and dedication that they've put forth in our community. To me, this is a huge loss, and I know they're both pursuing other avenues. So I really, really wish them luck. And I really hope that they come back to visit and even work with our students in some capacity. They've just been such an influence. So I really just wanted to praise them and thank them for all of their years of dedication and work.
Thank you. Do you want to make a motion to
I'm
approve that?
sorry. I make a motion to approve item B on the consent agenda.
Sarah Brickler, I'll second, and I couldn't agree more.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
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 And those opposed? Seeing none, carries. All right. And then if you'd also continue along with F.
I just pulled F because I want to acknowledge how hard it is to get this money together. And I know as of last week, we were just a little bit short, and it took our office people to come together and pull money out of accounts to try to make this happen. And so this is just a minor plea to any parents or anybody listening that may have a little extra penny to donate. This is a huge benefit for our students, and I'm really looking forward to including all our students next year as we have possibly found LCAP or Title I maybe of reference to this. So again, just want to shout out all the hard work that's being done over there with all our 5th grade teachers, especially Mr. Pack selling pies. I don't know how many days in a row or how many pies we all bought.
Or made.
Or made. So just a last minute, just if there's any extra donations out there that we could pull in together, I know that'd make a big difference. And congratulations. And I hope this is a huge successful trip.
Clerk Grigsby, on that note, there are many, many, many more options that actually Mr. Packheiser, Mrs. McDonald, a lot of other parents are planning on. So definitely keep a note on, stop by. There will probably be something going on nearly every day after school. We're going to do something at the drama club performance. We're going to do something at the arcade game night that Mr. Packheiser is planning. So there's so many opportunities. Definitely come enjoy, come play, come have a slushie.
This is Trustee Brickler. I also wanted to acknowledge, I hope I'm not missing anyone, Mrs. Steinman, who's in the audience tonight. And Mrs. Meehan, is there anyone else I'm missing? I recognize how hard I've seen our staff and families hustling to try to raise funds for this opportunity.
And Mrs. Brickler, who calls us all the time to ask for extra donations. On that note, I move to approve item F on the consent. And have a second that one.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Seeing none. Okay, and Trustee Brickler, if you would.
Yeah,
G.
I'm ready. G1. I was just hoping, I had sent an email in advance to try to get a little bit more information about this is the Warren Consulting Engineering. This is for surveying services. I was just hoping to get a little bit more information about how this fits into our projects and why this particular service is necessary. Please.
Thank you. This is CBO Leslie. So anytime that you're doing any kind of engineering on a site or making any changes, they want to make sure that they're looking at flow patterns of water, drainage, any earthwork that might need to be done, especially as we, make more of a play area in the E.V. Kane campus specifically. So those are the types of things the architects need to know in order to ensure that they're drawing it appropriately and we're not running into any issues as we get into the construction phase.
I'm trying to remember when I reviewed this. So this covers all 3 of our school sites.
Yes, that we're
Okay.
so
I understand there's like a drainage issue that's kind of near the Skyridge kindergarten. So any of those existing issues will be validated or identified.
Well, I mean, the drainage issue in the Skyridge we've been continuing to work on. So we've had one fix that's gone through, but of course we're looking to make sure that we install any other drainage that needs to be done. And things of that nature. But more specifically, like I said, anytime you're moving anything around or we're accessing any other areas, we want to make sure that we have a survey so that we don't run into anything unexpected on site in construction.
Okay. I guess I wasn't sure how this fit in with there was a lot of work that was done regarding like path of travel. I'm just trying to understand how all these various construction pieces fit together, and it sounds like they're not redundant.
Yeah, there's very many. So like in the attachment for this proposal or for the list out of services, it has maps attached and it'll show you the prior topography and surveys that were done for specifically the Americans with Disability Act accessibility on campuses. And then it will outline the areas that they're going to be addressing with these particular surveys. And they actually do go hand in hand, as you said. So those areas that we've already covered as we looked at, what are going to be our biggest concerns ADA wise. Now we already have that information, so we're not going to have to go back and redo those now. So instead, because we're just addressing certain pieces for playground structures on different campuses or shade structures, we only have to look at those specific areas and they don't have to redo all the accessibility. And they would have had to at this point.
Thank you. I will move that we approve item 10G1.
I'll second.
All right, and all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Seeing none, the motion carries.
And then the next item was number 4. So that's 10G4. I had asked a question about there seemed to be an inconsistency with the daily rates from site to site. And I just wanted to ask the interim superintendent or the CBO if were there any changes that were needed or is more time needed?
So I did get your email late last night and
she
I
responded
just did
within
not-
like 10 minutes of like 9 PM or so. Anyway,
I tried and then you responded and then we just kind of stalled there. So I did send an email off to Boys and Girls Club, but I would like to get some clarification. So if we can do some clarifying by email. You asked about the daily rate and that type of thing. So the daily rate for the middle school is larger because it's the middle school. I wasn't in the final contract discussion. You remember?
To be completely honest with you, I am uncertain if it's just the rate at that site particularly. I don't think it has anything to do with the age of students necessarily. But they have their own portable and stuff like that on that site. So it could just have something to do with location.
And that was my thought as well. But again, we're seeking clarification. We'll get some clarification on that.
How does that work? It's a ratification. So you want us to, I guess, approve a ratification, and then if there are changes that are needed to the agreement, you would inform us later on, or what happens?
Sure. Yeah. And
I mean, I support Boys and Girls Club. I want to have these services available. It was just a minor question about, so at Auburnell, there are supposed to be 75 spaces for students, at EV Kane 100, at Skyridge 100. And the daily rate at Auburnell is $825. The daily rate at EV Kane is $1,100, and the daily rate at Skyridge is $825. So if you look at it as a ratio, it just doesn't, it feels inconsistent. You would
Right.
expect
So-
to see perhaps a higher daily rate to accommodate a larger student population.
Couple things to consider though. So the Skyridge students go to the main campus.
Mhm.
And so and again, this is all ELOP funding. So we pay to transport students to that main campus because there's not a portable on site. At Auburn Elementary, we do have portables, and then at EV Kane, the Boys and Girls Club owns their own portable. So again, I can look into those specifics about that daily rate for you, but when we did meet with Boys and Girls Club, we've been meeting with them each year to make sure that we're providing opportunities for our kids. Our biggest interest this year was to provide that summer program for students. And so we were lucky that they were able to provide that. And then in addition to that, ongoing support for parents to enroll their students in Boys and Girls Club at the 3 TK school. So I can get that clarification and I can send that off to the board. But we are in, we absolutely don't see a reason why we couldn't continue with this work with Boys and Girls Club, especially because they're such a good partner for our district. But that language, I can grab that.
Yeah, it was just a minor point of clarification. Again, very grateful to the services that Boys and Girls Club provides, and there are a lot of benefit to our students and families. And I'm grateful for the summer offering. I guess I did have one question. I had asked this over email as well, which is just, do we just pay a flat rate, and how does that, what is the utilization? Are we kind of fully utilizing the program, or could we be, like, are there spots that go unfilled that could be made available that maybe families aren't aware of?
So the contract that we entered into with them is based on their projections and they're reflected over the years of running their program. We did ask if we have more students than what we projected for, would they have spots? And the response was that they would. They're great. And again, we're committed to ensuring that our families have that access and funding that's only for programs and other after-school programs. And so that commitment is strong on both sides between Boys and Girls Club and us. And then we have that funding. So for the summer program, we estimated based on past data that they have. But again, we're always analyzing and reanalyzing our data to make sure that we have the best numbers. So we'll know more after this summer. This is the first year we've offered a summer program using ELOP funds through the Boys and Girls Club. But again, they take so many of our students. My own kids went there when the first couple years that I worked here in Auburn, they went to the downtown location for the summer. So.
All right, thank you. I'll move that we approve this item.
And this is President Holt, I'll second that. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed? Seeing none, it carries.
Finally, item I had just asked over email. It looks like the exhibit G was missing, and that was the scope of work. I was just hoping to resolve some of these offline because I don't want to take up too much time in the board meeting.
Looking, I'm going to turn the air a little bit cool.
Perhaps if you could just email it to us.
Yeah, she's
Okay.
gonna pull the original and make sure that it gets to you. Yep.
Okay, thank you. I move that we approve item I.
Ms. President Holt, I'll second that. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 And those opposed? Seeing none, it carries.
The little things.
Okay. And moving to item 11A, approval of resolution 23-24-12, Employee Appreciation Week.
Each year, the Board of Trustees recognizes all of our AUSD staff with this resolution. So with the employee recognition resolution, a roll call vote would honor and thank our employees for their hard work.
Whereas certificated staff mold future citizens through guidance and education, and whereas certificated staff encounter students of widely differing backgrounds, and whereas our county's future depends upon providing quality education to all students, and whereas certificated staff spend countless hours preparing lessons, evaluating progress, counseling, coaching students, and performing community service, and whereas our community recognizes and supports its certificated staff in educating the children of the community. School nurses. Whereas school nurses have served a critical role in improving public health and in ensuring students' academic successes for more than 100 years. And whereas school nurses are professional nurses that advance the well-being, academic success, and lifelong achievements of all students by serving on the front lines and providing a critical safety net for our nation's most fragile children. And whereas school nurses act as a liaison to the school community, parents, and healthcare providers on behalf of children's health by promoting wellness and improving health outcomes of our community's children. And whereas school nurses are members of school-based mental health teams, and whereas school nurses understand the link between health and learning and are in a position to make a positive difference for children every day. Classified, confidential, and licensed professionals. Whereas the education of youth is essential to the future of our community, state, country, and world. And whereas classified, confidential, and licensed professionals are the backbone of our education system, whereas classified, confidential, and licensed professionals work directly with students, educators, parents, volunteers, business partners, and community members. And whereas classified, confidential, and licensed professionals support the smooth operation of offices and safety and the safety and maintenance of buildings and property, the healthy nutrition and direct instruction of students. And whereas our community depends upon the trusts classifieds, confidential, and licensed professionals to serve students. And whereas classified, confidential, and licensed professionals with their diverse talents and true dedication nurture students throughout their school years. Administrators. Whereas administrators play an essential role in leading schools, and whereas administrators set the academic tone and help establish the visions for their schools, providing and mobilizing the mobilizing force behind school reform efforts. And whereas administrators are among the hardest working, yet often least recognized individuals in education. And whereas administrators deserve recognition and thanks for the outstanding work they do for this community and for the children enrolled in Auburn Union School District schools. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Auburn Union School District Board of Trustees proclaims May 6th through 10th, 2024 to be Employee Appreciation Week. And be it further resolved that the Auburn Union School District Board of Trustees strongly encourages all members of our community to join with it in personally expressing appreciation to our certificated staff, nurses, classified, confidential, and licensed professionals and administrators for their dedication and devotion to their work. Do I say the passed and adopted this 10th day of April 2024 at a meeting of the Board of Trustees by the following votes? Let's start with President Holt.
Oh, wait, can we just, trustee Ross, just one room for discussion? Do we have room for discussion before this? I was noticing at the top, there's school nurses, there's classified confidential, there's admins, but on the very, very top, it should either say certificated or teachers. So that should be acknowledged on the top.
Like how I said school nurses. I noticed that too.
Right? So that should be done. And then I'd also just like to acknowledge that it says, whereas administrators are amongst the hardest working yet often least recognized individuals in education. I don't doubt this, but I also believe that everybody here is overworking. We just heard that teachers are putting in 15 extra hours a week. And so I'd like to see that contributed to everybody or pulled out. Those are only my two requests.
I think last year when we talked about this, we talked about striking that line out about because all of our employee groups are working incredibly hard and are probably feeling under recognized. So I would support striking that out before we move forward with the
Sure.
resolution. Yeah.
And I just pulled the same one that you all used last year, just for consistency. So I will make those changes for you.
So with those changes. All right. So then I move that we adopt the resolution with the changes as described.
I second.
And then if you'd please conduct a roll call vote.
President Holt,
Aye.
Clerk Grigsby, aye. Trustee Brickler,
Aye.
Trustee Wedge,
Aye.
Trustee Ross.
Aye.
Motion carries.
May I also, so this is for May 6th through 10th. So maybe as a board, we can consider how we could show our appreciation during that week and come up with some ways to acknowledge our school sites checks. Okay, checks. Noted on the checks. Okay. I know. It's like a cookie just doesn't cut it.
Just don't try
when-
to cash it. Ooh,
Some gold coins with chocolate underneath.
We can use my hat from last month. That's okay. I still got it.
Thanks.
Okay, so that's something we can further discuss. Moving to item 11B, approval of the employment contract for the CBO, with the vote to renew the contract until the language here is for 1 year. Unless there's further discussion, I move that we. I just want to get my language correct. I move that we extend the contract through June 30th of 2025.
I'll second. Is this resolution?
It is not.
Okay.
And is there any discussion on that point? Okay. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
And those opposed?
Nay.
Motion carries. Then moving to item 12A, board policy updates, second read and approval.
All right, that's my cue. The California School Board Association made changes to board policies in October and December of 2023. This is a second read and approval.
Okay, this is President Holt. Were there any questions on that? Clarifying questions?
Yes, I would like to pull out of there, policy 61428, comprehensive health education.
Happen to know what page that. Sorry. Can you say that one more time?
It's 6142.8.
It's on page 8 of the let's see, which attachment was that? The board index,
Correct.
Which board? Okay. The 1223 or
1223.
923? Okay.
Is that, does the public get any explanation?
I'll read. It says policy updated to reflect new U.S. Surgeon General guidance related to 1, the importance of social connection in individual and societal health and well-being, and 2, the impact of social media on children and adolescents. Policy also updated to include the requirement that if districts offer health education courses to middle or high school students, the course must include mental health instruction.
That's the explanation, but if we go to the actual.
I mean, that's just the, like, an overview of what has
Correct.
changed in regards to this policy. So it indicated new language regarding digital and media literacy
And
and
example
regarding
numbers.
instruction and mental health. I'm sorry, so were you suggesting, was there specific language that you wanted to
Yeah,
discuss?
we'll wait till you guys look it all up and read it over. So I
Right.
wrote down some notes on this as well.
I think it's the actual. Is it the clean copy for 9?
Can I make a request to turn off the air? Is that possible?
I thought that's what we did.
That's the request we're getting. Yes, thank you.
Okay.
So, Trustee Wedge, which attachment can we read the full language on?
Clean copy
Yeah.
Which?
for 1223. It's on page 204.
You have that attachment?
Um,
Clean copy for. 12?
It's a Word document.
I have 923 and 923.
1023. How did I get 1223 and you got? What, you said what page?
It's actually a PDF, but it
Oh.
still has
PDF,
the,
right.
well, it has
Oh,
the
okay.
Oh,
.docx
copy. Thank you.
Yeah.
extension.
Okay.
What page one more time?
203, I think, 204. This is Trustee Brickler. Why don't you go ahead and express your concern about the policy?
Yes. So the additions to the policy and regulations 61428 documents specifically stating that students cannot be excused from specified comprehensive sexual health education were in complete error as per Cal Ed Code 51938, which provides for parental excuse of any comprehensive sexual health education. And by law, in fact, per Cal Ed Code 51938, districts can choose to use an active consent or opt-in model, which this is not something that I see in this.
I'm sorry, did you say the district shall not excuse a student from instruction?
Specifically certain that students cannot be
'Cause it
excused
says
from,
The district shall excuse
correct.
a student from instruction and comprehensive sexual health.
But there's nothing in place on that. And then
Trustee
also,
Wedge, I don't see. I'm on the same page there where it says the district shall excuse a student would be the language we're adopting.
the district shall excuse. Okay.
Correct.
Yes, but it doesn't give it opt-in or opt-out for parents on that.
Yeah, no, it's a, I think we've moved, per ed
Correct.
code, please correct me, but I think we're in an opt-out for, certain grade
Mhm.
levels.
Yeah.
I mean, if you'd please, step in and clarify that, if it's opt-in or opt-out. Where we're talking.
Well, it depends on the grade level, but yes, for our middle school,
So it would
parents
be
would have to opt
opt-out.
out.
So
Mhm.
it's not required in for the high school and the middle school.
No, it's required, but what that means is that kids will take the course unless parents opt out of it. So whereas sometimes the parents have to sign the permission slip to opt in this case, they would sign the slip to say, no, thank you.
So there would be a slip that would go
Yeah.
out to the parents.
Correct.
Describing this, and they
Yes.
could opt out of it.
Yeah, yes.
Usually it comes out at the beginning of the year with all of the different signatures. And
Yep.
And then, so Vanessa, is this something that's required by law, or is this a recommendation?
This President Hooligan, as I read it, it's conforming to ed code, so that would be required by law.
Can we
And
get clarification on that?
Actually, if you would clarify, I mean,
That's correct.
Huh?
Yes, that this teaching our students is not an option we have. We must provide this type of education to our students. There are specific grade levels and years. So for instance, during the pandemic, when kids weren't in school, the state allowed students to take it in like 8th grade, whereas typically they would take it in 7th grade. But it is something that is required, which is why parents can opt out of it. Also, just so the board understands, we do put the curriculum out for families who would like to come view the curriculum as well.
Is that curriculum out all the time? That's something they need to call and request to come see, or they can just go to the office? How does that work? 'Cause
They can go to the school office. So I'd have to check with Principal Mayberry right now. But my understanding is, and how we've done it in the past, is when the letter goes out saying this is when the curriculum is going to be taught, the curriculum is put out in the office for several weeks prior to that teaching to give parents the chance to look at it. I also request a copy here at the district office. So if a family can't get to the school before the school hours close or whatever, they could come here. They could also call and make an appointment.
Okay, so because I couldn't see anything in here, or I couldn't find where this is actually required by law or a recommendation, but what I'm hearing, this is actually, I understand teaching is required by law, but these changes that are being made, is this required by law? Or is this just a recommendation to the changes?
So, I would have to look into that and consult with legal on that, which changes specifically, what language exactly, so that I can send that off and get you a good answer.
Well, when you look at the, let me go back to that.
So if I could, I think that the specific changes, I don't think you're discussing items that were recently changed per se. I think that the sexual health was
No.
already present in that policy.
Correct. I'm not, yes.
The changes regarding digital and media literacy and mental health it says here that they were updated to reflect new U.S. Surgeon General guidance. But overall, this policy is reflective of a number of different ed code.
No, I understand that. But so is this by law? Is this a recommendation of this changes being added to the policy?
I don't hear you object necessarily about the mental health piece or the digital literacy piece. You're talking about a different piece that was already present in that policy.
Well, this whole piece right here, this whole piece in here where this changes, that's what I want to know. Is this a recommendation being added to it, this language being added to it, or is this something that's being added per law?
Well, this President Holt, as I understand it, this is recommended change in language, but it's to help keep districts in accordance with the law. So if we weren't to update this board policy, we may find ourselves out of compliance with current California Ed Code.
Correct.
So this is just keeping us current with.
Can we confirm that it'll
Yep.
keep us out of compliance?
Sure. So you're referring to the new language
Correct.
that that discusses digital and media literacy and mental health components, correct? That's what I've written down here. Is that what you're asking?
I don't even see digital. If you look at board
Okay.
policy 61428, says policy updated to reflect new U.S. Surgeon General guidance related to
Got
the
it.
importance of social connections
Thank
in
you.
individual and social health and well-being, and 2, the impact of social media on children and adolescents. Policy also updated to include the requirements that if districts offer health education courses to middle and high school districts, the course must include mental health instructions.
Got it. Okay.
Now, so all this is being added, this new language.
When I
Is what I'm
open
getting
up
at.
California standards, it comes up as health ed is, we have to have it.
I'm not disputing that.
Okay, so
I'm
you're,
not disputing that. What I'm saying, do we have to adopt this new language in here?
With those changes, because
those
this has already been adopted. So what you're asking about is the specific new changes that you just read out, and I can get the board a response to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do think it says it right here in the policy. If you, there's a line in section 3 that says internet safety. And it says as required by law. And then the next part speaks to mental health, and it specifically cites ed code and administrative regulations. So I do think it is really driven by law and ed code.
And as I compare it to our previous policy, yeah, it cites the relevant ed code. I don't think there are actually any citations in the current policy as adopted.
Sure.
All right, was there anything else to be pulled or further discussed?
I move that we approve item 12A.
Okay. Mr. President Holt, I second that. And all in favor?
Aye.
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 And those opposed?
Nay.
Okay, motion carries. And moving to item 12B, special June meeting date revision. So it was brought to our attention, looking at the calendar, this falls on Juneteenth, which is a federal holiday, and now I think it's being recognized at the state level as well. And so we need to change that meeting date.
Okay. Special.
And let's see here. So do we have a recommended alternative date?
Well, my recommendation would be the 18th or the 20th. So we keep it in alignment with that week. So
Would you
Yeah.
please remind us again? So we have our regular board meeting the week prior.
the week prior, yeah.
And then this secondary meeting, I mean, do you need more than a week to prepare for it? Because I think it's like a public hearing at the first one, right? For the
Correct.
budget, and then the follow-up where we vote on the budget. Is that correct? I'm trying to remember.
Correct.
The
That, yeah,
order of
that's
operation.
correct. Yep.
Okay.
And I did look into that just to be sure that I wasn't missing something. We could safely have our special board meeting on the 18th or the 20th surrounding that particular holiday. And that would still be in compliance with the public hearing and then the
Thank you
vote.
for checking that.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, 'cause that's my thought too. I was almost thinking, could we not just do them the same day?
Right.
If there's not something to prevent it.
Oh.
See.
Question.
No, well,
Same day, but
Yeah.
I didn't look
You
at the
would-
same day.
okay.
I wouldn't recommend that. Yeah,
Okay.
because
Okay.
with the public, you have the public hearing, you get the feedback, the comments, and then we allow for time to make adjustments or
Got it. Well, with that, I would move that we adopt the 18th. That works for everybody. As well as it can.
I'll second. Mm.
Are there any other proposals?
Did we decide on a time for that movement?
just a regular
Motion?
6 p.m.
Okay.
Yeah,
Does anyone have an objection to June 18th?
No, I'm good with that.
okay, so we have a motion and a second. All in favor of June 18th?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those opposed? Seeing none, it carries. All right, and moving to new requests. I know trustee Brickler had a request for us. An update on the Faisal.
Thank you for capturing that. I would like to make a request. I definitely am hearing from our community members that they would like for the board to meet in a larger venue. And I know that it's a hardship. It's challenging for our staff to set up the mobile meetings, but I think it would be important to try to rotate school sites so that we're kind of engaging with all of our school communities and allowing for as much participation as the community wants. Or, allowing more space for participants. And we did see, luckily the weather is nice, but we had probably 15, 20 people outside tonight.
Okay. This is President Holt. Yeah, I couldn't see how many were standing outside, but we did also have open seats the entire meeting. And I know it's tight when we're sitting in here like this. I think we'll recall from our meeting at Skyridge, the acoustics were just terrible.
And we didn't have Wi-Fi.
Okay, yep. But also just the acoustics was really difficult to hear for us, and I think some others that expressed that too. And we've talked about it with the district, and it does present different challenges, especially for the classified staff who have to wait for us to get done to put everything away and then get things ready again early the next morning. So
Is
that's
the warehouse an option? No, I'm kidding. Is there another, I don't have to be as specific about where it would be, but is there another alternative that would allow for to better accommodate the community members who want to attend our meetings?
well, so I think we could probably do the overflow room like we've done before as well. But most of the meetings here, tonight we did have quite a few people, but most of them aren't full. So that's.
I mean, when I first started serving on the school board, most of them were not full, but I think in the last 2 years or so, we've more likely than not had a large audience.
And I think we've tried to accommodate that too. February, we were at EB Kane. I think January we were at Kane. We did 2 in a row over there. So I think we're trying to accommodate that best we can. I would just suggest we continue to just try to be flexible when we see that when it looks like there's gonna be a larger turnout, that we try to flex. But otherwise we just try to keep it here at the district office because it is easier on staff.
I agree.
Which is important.
How are we determining like which meetings will need more room and which ones won't? Because I don't know that any of us knew we were going to have this big of a turnout tonight. So how do we determine that?
So in discussions that the superintendent and I have had, it's kind of based on what the perception appears to be. So you're right, tonight it didn't know if we're going to have this many people. So she even asked, should I set up the overflow area? I said, I don't know. Maybe we can play it by ear.
Yeah.
But previous meetings when we expected a bigger turnout, we went to EV Kane. Last month when we thought there still could be a potential for bigger turnout, we defaulted to EV Kane. So that's kind of been what was kind of guiding that. Others where we thought over the last year that we would have a larger turnout, we try to be at a different location. So can't always get it right, but even at those, there's always potential that we could have more people than we have room for. So
yeah. I have not looked into this at all, so I'm not an informed speaker, but I don't know if there are other community venues that might not be so much of a hardship to set up. I don't know, like the city council chambers. I haven't really thought about how big those are. I don't know if there's some other site that's kind of in close proximity that we might be able to utilize. Just a loose thought.
yeah,
I don't know if that's any easier because we use our Promethean boards usually, or.
Our network, and it's with our IT folks here on site and run it. Whereas if we were using their facilities too, that would probably come with a cost of using their facilities and paying their staff and paying for Auburn Police or whoever else potentially for their services at the venue. So
I'm just asking for an exploration of like what's the sweet spot that is least challenging for staff that would be able to accommodate more individuals. I see we can allegedly take 60 people in this room, but that seems like a lot.
I think we've had 60 seats in here. So
my other request was that just to try to expedite our decisions to families on the school sites. I know we're competing with other schools that have already notified our students of whether they have spots. And I fear losing more students.
That's, I mean, I trust that we are trying to do that. The district is trying to get them done as quickly as possible, but also as thoroughly as possible. And I think if we were to just kind of top down, try to direct them to speed up their timeline without us knowing what's going into that, it might not have the effects that we would hope it would have. If we're just telling them, hey, work faster, don't know how that helps actually work.
I mean, perhaps it's even like I don't know that we will be in the situation where our timeline is out of alignment with other schools. I think in the future, it would be a goal to notify families around the same time, or if not ahead of other schools, because that's who we're competing with. Is if you know, once you find that you've gotten into a particular school, they usually have like a deadline by which you have to respond. And so then you're making a decision about which school to attend. And so I've gotten a lot of feedback from the community that we should try to be better aligned with other schools' notification timelines. But this is an extraordinary year, so I don't know if it's possible to do that this year. I'm just asking. I am representing the perspective that families are very eager to know, and the deadline was the end of March, and I don't know what goes into the what's behind the scenes, but the sooner the better, I think, in terms of notifying families.
Any additional requests to discuss?
I think, were we gonna get an update on the principal search and how that's going? Any input on that? Maybe in an email, just kind of how things are going.
Yeah. Do we have
Yeah.
that one?
This is Clerk Grigsby. I know we're getting close to the end of the school year, and I remember a couple months ago we were talking about doing an end of the year barbecue, and that there was talk from others that might help. Is that still something that we were planning? And reach out to me. Can we start planning it, please? Barbecue.
So this is President Holt. I've heard some feedback on that from staff and others that seemed like dread trying to plan that. So I wouldn't want to overtax them. You know, I was excited about the idea of it, and then heard from some folks who were just kind of dreading it. So I don't know if that is the best thing for us, but I don't know what other people have heard as well, if that's something we still think can be doable.
Renee and I will throw a barbecue. With the
Right
food
around
bank.
Pizza Palooza.
Yeah, right around
Right?
Pizza Palooza.
Okay.
Which is incidentally the same day as the big Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I do have one request on that note. No, I do have, I don't know if our bell schedules are going to change at all. I don't remember. I thought I heard possibly no, that they're not going to change. The draft is out.
Schedules, but the actual class schedules, I believe, like the bell schedules.
Okay.
Period.
Gotcha. Perfect. Thank you. I did miss that.
Calendar isn't out yet. Is that what you're asking though?
Oh, we have our calendar for next school year, and bell schedules were recently published, and
Okay.
I think they changed very slightly, but it's essentially that Skyridge and EV Kane start at 8 a.m. and Auburn L is still 9 a.m. I'm looking for confirmation. Oh, it might not be on the web. Thank you for letting us know it's not on the website.
You probably shouldn't engage too. So the bell schedule is up on the website. The instructional calendar should be there, and if it's not there, then I will make sure it gets put up there, because it was just board approved. Remember, it came to the board and then it had to go back and forth. So we do have that. I did see that go out to all staff. Michelle Bunt did send that calendar out, so I'll make sure that it's put up on our website. As far as internal school bell schedules, the principals are still working that out. Part of that is enrollment and staffing, because lunch is usually an issue, right? So how many kids we have going to what lunches, it makes a difference sometimes in those bell schedules. So I know they're working on them, and as soon as they're ready, they'll put them up on their website. I will also put them out in an update.
And thank you for getting the calendar up if it's not already. And the calendar is still currently available as an attachment to last month's agenda. So that's the one that we adopted. And are there any additional requests? Seeing none, moving to item 13, information and discussion items, the 23-24 second interim report from PCOE.
There we go. In accordance with Ed Code 42131, a review of Auburn Union School District's second interim report for the fiscal year of 23-24 has been completed by the Placer County Office of Education. The district filed a second interim with positive certification. PCOE's analysis of the data provided indicated the district should be able to meet its financial obligation. The details are in the attached report.
And that was sent to us in the last couple of weeks, and that is available as an attachment.
I just wanted to comment, this is Trustee Brickler, that, it's concerning to see that I'm looking at the first page where there are a number of fluctuations in revenues. There were, let's see. So for example, the LCFF calculator only partially incorporated some other projections, which impacted, resulted in decreased revenues of 264,000 in the current fiscal year and 205,000 in the upcoming fiscal year. So this is, I feel like we're making decisions sometimes on these, what feel like kind of these thin margins. And we have kind of limited, like the fact that sorry, I'm struggling with the words a little bit. We're making these really consequential decisions, for example, around TK8 and a savings of about $400,000 to $500,000 in general fund a year. And yet I see these kind of major fluctuations of hundreds of thousands of dollars in some of our revenues. And it makes it hard to feel confident that in some of the decisions that we make, because I continue to see these adjustments. The following paragraph discussed that the general fund balance was overstated by almost $500,000, and that there were audit adjustments. I think the audit adjustments was probably a timing issue, that they wouldn't have been incorporated because the audit was delayed, and so the timing didn't work for those to be included in second interim. But it's really difficult to feel confident in making financial decisions when there are these fluctuations and corrections that are needed. There's also a lot of guidance in the letter about, this is kind of repetitive. We've seen this in other letters, just that the district's financial data needs to be reliable. Otherwise, future decisions with budgetary impact may negatively affect the district. And that just the challenge of projecting enrollment and attendance especially post-pandemic, and with significant changes to our district, we really don't know how our enrollment will be impacted, and that it's really hard to project that. Anybody else have any reactions to having received this letter?
Well, thank you, Trustee Brickler, for your thoughts on it too. All right, and seeing no further discussion, moving to item 14.
So I'm just excited about our TKK roundup coming up, and I want to urge everybody to go out and support each of our schools as they hold their TKK roundups this year. This is like, you know, a celebration, right? And we're welcoming our youngest students, and we are throwing, you know, like our party for them, right? So it's exciting. So please come on out to each of the 3 sites. I will send you the dates again, so that you have them handy.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I just want to take the time to thank the staff. Thank you for coming out tonight. Some of you have stuck through the whole thing, and thank you for continuing to work through this. I know it's been challenging. So thank you for continuing to come in and put you're all with your students. And thank you to the district staff, because we are making tremendous strides addressing some of these budget shortfalls. We've been able to reduce the budget by almost $1.9 million since last year. You know, towards that 2.5 to 3 million that's been identified by the county. So it hasn't been easy, and we still have more to go. And I really don't know right now. I couldn't tell you where I'd be able to find that. I think the discussions we've had as a board, it's going to be hard, but we still have further, you know, cuts I think that we're going to have to address while we still try to hopefully bring in additional enrollment and another income. So it's I think it's going to continue to be difficult, but I think we are on the right path. Grigsby.
Yet again, I wanted to say, especially to the 5th grade teachers and parents helping, it's going to be such an amazing experience for them. I also wanted to give a little shout out to a retired teacher that I saw tonight. She left before I could say hi to her. I wanted to show her updated picture of one of her students. It was just amazing to see all of the faces tonight. Can't wait to see it for a good experience too.
This is Trustee Brickler, and I just wanted to, I'm a volunteer for the Auburn Education Foundation. I don't know if you were aware, but the AEF has was founded in 1983 to supplement some of the educational and enrichment activities that our schools could otherwise not afford. Some of the things that AEF has funded over the years are things like the Symphony Goes to School program, the Renaissance Fair at EV Kane, a number of educator grants. Every year we've offered educator grants. So any staff member in AUSD can identify some materials, curriculum, various resources that they need in their classrooms or at their school sites. And so I wanted to just highlight a few of the grants that were funded this year. At Auburn Elementary, there's a flexible seating and standing for some of our special education students in their classrooms, the drama club, the mindfulness art club, field trips such as the one to Mosac that's coming up, and novels for classrooms. At EV Kane, AEF has funded things such as the Renaissance Fair. There's a great independent living skills coffee cafe that that serves the school, and therapeutic small groups. And at Skyridge, AEF has funded things such as Drama Club, the Change Makers after school program, and Symphony Goes to School. So the Big Day of Giving is on May 12th, and we are having an event at Station Public House. It's from 4 to 7 p.m. And it's it may not be a barbecue, but it's like one of the few opportunities where all school sites kind of come together. And what really draws us together is that there will be student performances from the EB Kane band, from the choir at Auburn Elementary, and from the dance club. I think it's both Skyridge and perhaps EB Kane. I don't mean to, I hope I'm not missing anyone. There are so many different things we could choose from. We've had Drama Club participate in the past. We would love to have like Renaissance Fair and other programs represented, but please come out and listen to these and listen to and enjoy these student performances, and consider making a donation to Auburn Education Foundation so that we can continue to offer these programs. Thank you so much.
Just a minor correction. You said May 12th, and I want to
Did I
make
say
sure
May
that
12th? I'm sorry, May 2nd. Okay, thank you. Which is there's a lot of great events happening on May 2nd.
Yes, because it's 4 days before my birthday. I just want to take this time real quick. I know I sent the email out a while ago to a lot of teachers, and I hear a lot of things, that come up here, that are thrown at us as a board. And but to be honest, I've been quite disappointed because I am very approachable. I will make the time to meet and talk with anybody. And I've had two teachers reach out to me, and we went and had coffee, and we sat down, had a great conversation. I was able to talk some things through. But so I just encourage, I understand your frustration. I understand you're upset, but I would really encourage, reach out to me, because I will meet, whenever I can, in the evenings, on Saturday mornings. I've done several Saturday mornings where I've sat down and met, taken away from my family. I will do that, and we can sit down and we can talk through a lot of these things, because it's not helping, you guys, of all these things that are being thrown, especially, at me. And a lot of them are not true, or most of them are not true. We can work through this. So I just encourage the open dialogue, and I am open, and I would love to sit down and have that open dialogue. So thank you.
Trustee Ross, in Skyridge's presentation, which was so well put together, there was, she forgot to mention the change makers. And I just wanted to shout out Amanda Jacobson for making that happen, because it's such an incredible program, bringing in community members. Also, drama club, we finished up at Auburn Elementary. It was so amazing. Teachers were talking about students that don't know how to read. We're sitting in corners trying to memorize their lines. I had other teachers walk up to me and say, my student will not miss a day of school because they don't understand that drama only falls on Tuesday and Thursday, and they don't want to miss drama. So we've proven to increase attendance. We've proven to increase reading, and it's just been such an amazing experience. And I just want to thank you, schools, for allowing me to be a part of that. We're also going to bring up a talent show, as if Sarah Liebert and the rest of the crew did not have enough to do. There'll be a talent show at Auburn Elementary, and that'll be on May 17th. We'll send more information. Also, Kidsapalooza. No competition. You show up, you donate over there at AEF, and then you move your way over to Regional Park, and we have our sports edition of Kidsapalooza, family event. It's all free, interactive, art, music, wellness. Right now we have over 15 to 20 booths set up between sports and fun art stuff to do. And then I also just wanted to mention this thing called Raise Craze. So a lot of us are doing these color runs, and it's a lot. There's so much that goes into it. Raise Craze is about kindness. So people make donations, and then our students actually go out and do community service in the form of kindness. It's an amazing program. I just wanted to throw that out there, as if we didn't have enough things to do. And then I'm working with the Arts Council, Placer County. I feel extremely honored. I told you last time I partnered with SCOE to bring teaching artists into the schools, and now we're working with the the Arts Council, Placer County, to figure out how we can train artists here and get them into schools. So I'm just encouraging any artists who are interested in teaching to come talk to me, because that also comes with a 2-year CTE, which will get your teaching credentials. So we're working to help put more people into our teaching positions. And that's just something that's really important to me. So any interested in teaching artists or getting those credentials, please come talk to me so we can get you in our school systems. That's about it.